And good morning to everybody. And for the very last time this year, I get to say, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar peoples. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. And it is so cool to see you all here.
Happy January 0, everybody.
Happy January 0. January the 0th, 2024. That is today. So, first in the chat, of course, always was Chip. Always in some kind of a time warp. I think Chip lives in a different time. No, I don't know. He's always first in the chat though, usually the day before. So, good morning to Chip, Immy, Stephen, Mitchell, Henrik, who else? Some call it fun. David is here, and Keith, Mr. Barbecue. Steve the Squirrel is here too. John Whips, and Sharky. Happy end of 2023. Next time I will be first. Okay, so Henrik. Good morning, Scott. Henrik has thrown down the challenge. He thinks he's going to beat Chip to be the first to comment next time a stream is posted. Maybe. Henrik does have... is this an advantage or a disadvantage? Being in the other hemisphere. Yeah. Maybe. What time is it over there, Henrik? Isn't it... it's like midnight where you are? Something like that. Anyway, hang on. I've got to... Shubham just asked an interesting question. G'day, Mike. Hang on. I'm going to break out this chat, pop out this chat, and I've got to switch it to live instead of top, just so that I can make sure that I can see everything. And so during the week, Sion did his last live stream for the week, his normal Wednesday morning live streams, where he does interesting projects and things, and did it as an AMA. Went over some things that he's been working on and answered general questions. And because I have zero planning put into this particular live stream, the easiest thing to do is just copy what he did and do an AMA. So I hope I'm pronouncing your name okay. Shubham asked, what are the chances you would be willing to show any analytics data that your dashboard might show about the demographics of your current live users? Sure. I have... wow, Henrik said, and in summertimes I have to start watching at 3 a.m. I don't think I would stay up for a 3 a.m. live stream. Henrik, you are dedicated. So I am in the YouTube dashboard right now. I'm going to, hang on, I'm going to shove that window aside. I'm going to open a new YouTube dashboard, and maybe I can show you some things. I don't even look at my analytics. I don't even know where it is. So I am just going to go into YouTube Studio and start poking around.
Said all the stream keys.
All the stream keys, yes. I'll show you all the stream keys. Okay, what have we got? This is the channel dashboard. Is there a stream key visible here? I don't know. I don't see one. Look at this. So, hang on. I'll apply some zoomification to this. No, not that. That. I did a drag on the trackpad and it went back a page. So, as you would have briefly seen, what popped up then? Those videos that appeared. There was Stranger Parts, and I saw a picture of Ellie briefly. So there was The Last of Us gameplay video of some kind. Anyway, so subscribers. Just about every single time I log into here, it'll say something like minus 51 subscribers in the last 28 days. I don't think I've seen this as a positive number for maybe a year. So I figure that if this trend continues, I'm going to have to take my 100,000 subscriber plaque thing and take it off the wall and post it back to YouTube, because I'm going to be dipping under 100,000 subscribers before very long. Where are we? So yeah, views are way down, watch time is way... Oh, it says... Yeah, okay. That's strange. So 2,500 hours of watch time in the last month. Estimated revenue, $78. That's a lie. It's never anything like that. I don't know where this revenue estimation comes from. Hang on, what does it... is there any comparison not available? Okay. Average view duration, 20 minutes. That is pretty bad. Oh, and views 358. That is really, really low. So the last... okay, so if we look at the last couple of live streams...
Hey folks, please dislike this video and unsubscribe from the channel for the stats.
That's it. Be like Peter. Dislike and unsubscribe. Smash that dislike button. So 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 were some recent live streams. What else? What else? Members use a CLang format file. Accidentally killed the waterproof sensor. Just looking at some of the comments there. I really don't pay any attention to this. So what have we got? Analytics. Let's see what analytics has to say. Oh yeah, go away. Yeah, 15,500 views in the last month. That's terrible. The it's so low. What are we at? Top content. Oh, okay. So my top content was the data logging with MQTT. This video is kind of out of date now. So 13th of December 2020 was when I did that one. And things have changed a bit since then. So that was MQTT, Node-RED, Grafana, and InfluxDB. And even the installation process for some of those has changed. So let's see. Audience, returning viewers. I don't even know what this means. I don't know what any of this means. What your audience watches? Well, obviously my audience has good taste because they subscribe to Jeff Geerling, Everything Smart Home, EV Blog, Paul Hibbert, Mark Watt Tech. When your viewers are on YouTube, and I don't even know if this is interesting to anyone. So, oh, look at this. Look at this terrible statistic. The gender breakdown, 99.8% male. And age range is primarily in the 35 to 44 years range, largely in the US. So mostly US audience, followed by Australia, UK, Germany, Canada. That's interesting. Far more from Germany than from Canada. Okay. Keith says, Dodgy watched the Node-RED video 100 times this month. That's quite likely. Just put it on repeat. I don't think that counts though. It doesn't work like that. Research. What does the research tab show? Home automation system, DIY home automation, top searches. Okay. Yeah, whatever. So I don't know if this is useful to anyone, interesting to anyone. I should check the chat. What else? Could the YouTube revenue be YouTube's revenue? Maybe. Maybe. So, a couple of other people have joined the chat. Russell is here. BFits58 is here. Well, good evening good evening to the UK BFits. Can't watch live tonight, but dropped in to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year. Jackstech said they're deleting abandoned accounts. That is probably what accounts for a lot of that negative subscriber number as well. And Scott says, need to get back into producing regular content. Definitely. I really do need to do that. I'm kind of scared of the camera though, which is weird. I feel perfectly fine jumping on, like turning on the camera now, doing a live stream and just talking to you. But I don't know why. For some reason, the feeling of doing like edited videos, it just feels like I don't even know how to describe it. More like I would be judged on that, and that I have to meet some kind of a standard. With a live stream, at least, I can just talk and everybody knows that I'm just going to talk rubbish and make it all up as I go and trip over my own tongue. So if that happens, it doesn't really matter. But if I make mistakes and things on a properly edited video. So Henrik said, I would only dislike if Peter pays me €1,000, and Peter wanted to know whether Henrik accepts Steve coin. So maybe what we should do is mint our own cryptocurrency called the Steve coin. Yeah, Jackstech said that guest gender is usually based on stereotypes. So I'm not sure you can trust it. Yeah, I don't even know where they get that information from. It must be, to some extent, it must be inferred. I don't know if you can specify your gender in your YouTube profile, and of course, a lot of people wouldn't put that information in anyway. Trady says, I have a 25% India audience, talking about himself. Well, that's pretty cool. Stephen said, how unusual that children have little interest in electronics engineering. Yeah, let's go back to that age demographic thing, because I started when I was about 7 or 8 years old. Where are we? Age and gender, here we go. 13 to 17 years. What, there's nothing for below 13? It says 0% on 13 to 7, 0.6% on 18 to 24. So yes, I really reach that young demographic, don't I? Yeah, no, I started playing around with electrical stuff when, yeah, I must have been about 6 or 7. Somewhere in that ballpark, give or take. Scott says, Steve coin is virtual peanuts. And Andrew, okay, so Andrew just said, made a good point. On live stream, you sort of know who you were talking to. That's true, because you are all chatting back to me. Well, many of you are. How many are here right now? 43 people. And I've had a few people. Yeah, there are a few people in the chat. Well, that's an unusual sentiment, Russell. Russell just said, I like the live stream, wish you do more. More live streams? More live streams. Oh, Johan is here too. Welcome, Johan. Now, okay, so, questions. How about you start thinking of some questions to ask while I do this? And slide across here. I just saw a Discord notification, which probably means Henrik is sending me stuff to show. I'll have a look at that in a minute. So what we've got here, I need to zoom out to really be able to show this. This is the Conveyor Project and the dodgy connections to the conveyor controller, because I'm changing the way this works. In fact, I can pull all of this up in Fusion and show you, because since the last live stream, I have done some major redesign work on this controller board, and because I've changed my mind about a couple of things. And this is the stepper driver board for the 28BYJ something, I can't remember the part number, stepper motor, which is inside here, which moves the back rail for the Y-axis to make the conveyor belt wider or narrower. And so instead of using the onboard, like the little stepper modules that go on here, it's got a it's a 5-wire stepper system, which means that what it does is supply, there are 5 wires to the stepper, there are a couple of coils, so 4 of the wires are for the 2 coils, and they have center taps on the coils, which go to a 5-volt supply, which is why it's 5 volts instead of 5 wires instead of 4 wires going to that stepper motor. So the 4-wire connection from the stepper drivers here is not suitable. The other thing is, I changed my mind about going to a stepper motor on the conveyor driver partly after the discussions last week.
Said flipping magnets. How do they work?
Flipping magnets? Don't even know what you're referring to. Flipping magnet. I thought, yeah, who knows how magnets work? It's a mystery. So when you say flipping, is that just a family-friendly way of saying something else? Or are you talking literally about magnets that flip over? I don't know. So, what? Okay. What I did, I'll show you the design in Fusion. I can wave my hands and stuff, but I might as well just show you the actual design. Oh, I also need to check if I applied that patch wire. That is something I haven't checked yet. I might have done that way back ages ago when I was working on the design, but I can't remember. So I've added, okay, so stepper. What I was going to do was use the board sensor at the start of the conveyor and then use a stepper motor to control the movement of the board, so I could bring the board to the center position and stop, because with a stepper you know how far it's moved. But after Sion jumping in the live stream last week and some of his comments, I'm going to put a board sensor in the middle as well, and I've done some work on that this week. Right here, this is a time of flight sensor in a 3D printed enclosure. So this mounts in under the frame and protrudes out to detect when a PCB comes over the top. So they're going to be, on this board I've got connections for 2 sensors. I'm actually going to have 3 sensors. So there's going to be an entry side, like a left side sensor, a middle sensor and a right sensor. So there'll be 3 sockets on the revised version of this board instead of just these 2. And both of the stepper motor driver footprints are gone. Anyway, I will show you that. Also, I got the CAN bus stuff working. So this is now homing and moving to a target position based on messages coming in over CAN bus. And I've also modified the OpenKO firmware so that when you send conveyor commands, it passes those commands down the CAN bus as well. So that is now all functioning. I can plug into this, plug it into OpenKO, home the conveyor on the KO, and this homes as well simultaneously. So I've made a fair bit of progress on this. Now my goal had been that I would do all of this work on live streams, but the thing is that I actually need this. I've got to get it finished because I need to stick it on the machine, and I have this narrow window of opportunity between like when all my clients close up approaching Christmas and next week, so after New Year, they come back again. So I have this little window, Christmas to New Year basically, where I've got to get a whole bunch of stuff done that I just don't get a chance to normally. And if I don't have this, I know that if I don't have this done by next week, it's not going to get done for who knows how long. I'm just never going to get back to it. So I've put in some time over the last week since the last live stream and made good progress on this. And it is getting pretty close to functional. So we could, well, I can get rid of this. Don't need that. Yeah, I can close that window. That's good. And open Fusion. So, okay, well, questions. This is a good question from Jax Tech, and I don't actually have an answer. So Jax Tech's question was, what's the video you are most proud of producing? I really don't know if I have an answer. The thing is that unless I remind myself of what the videos were, I've really got to... no, I won't show that just yet. I got to change to a different group of projects because I was logged into a client project. Where are we? Superhouse projects, conveyor. Here we go. Okay. This is safe to show. I will show you some... Oh, there are some frame pieces as well. But these are not all that exciting. So this is... Oh, I've got to plug in my 3D mouse. Get back in there. Okay, so this is a 3D printed shape. Basically, it's a plug that goes into the end of the frame of the conveyor belt. It's oriented horizontally like that. So the motor... No, this one's the idler end. I've got two versions of this, one for a motor and one for the idler. So a bolt goes through that hole, there is an M5 bolt, there is a nut that goes in the back, and then the idler pulley mounts on here. And I've modified this just recently to add this big slot in the middle. The reason that slot exists is the ribbon cable needs to pass through there for the PCB sensor that goes at the end of the conveyor belt. Now, what about... What was that question again? Oh, Trady says, question, are you going to get on the booze tonight, John? No, I don't. Not tonight, not any night. That's just not really a thing I do. I don't care about it. The booze I have, okay, this is the booze I have, iced coffee. That's as hard as it gets. Moo! Sion is here! Oh, Jezza! Jezza is here as well. Well, Jezza, if I am looking old, then that means you are old. So, for those of you who don't know, Jez Kemp is an old school friend of mine. Many, I was going to say years ago, but no, I can actually say many decades ago. We went to school together. And outside the box, who is here, is Chip, is also an old school friend. All three of us went to the same school. So, where are we? Magnetic encoder. Okay, I've got to try to pull some thoughts out of the ADHD overload that is the chat. Where were we? Okay, so the question was, getting back to that question, the video that I'm most proud of. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's not necessarily based on whatever video is popular or anything like that. Some of the videos that got the biggest views were ones that were almost throwaway videos. In fact, the one that really got this channel started was, I just got a warning that I've got a low bit rate on my uploads. That is not a good sign. We might get some lag coming in. So the video that really got attention on my channel was one where I just grabbed a camera. It was a total spur of the moment thing. Grabbed a camera, walked outside, recorded like a 2-minute video, 3-minute video, I can't remember how long it is, but it's not long, of me starting my car using my friend Andy's iPod Touch. So this was back in the day when the iPod Touch kind of looked like a mini iPhone. It was before iPhones really took off. Were they even around? I think iPhones might have just come out, like the iPhone 1 was out at the time. And I had my car wired up in a very precarious way, and so I could start the car from via remote control from the iPod. And I filmed that just because I thought it was cool, stuck it up, and it got a lot of attention. Got lots of views, lots of subs, and that's really what kickstarted the channel. It wasn't anything that was planned or anything like that. Stephen says Peter is throwing squirrels at me. Okay, where are Peter's... Oh, okay, flipping magnets, how do they work? Yeah. Polarity, electromagnets, where, okay, I'm trying to find things in the chat. Henrik said that I talked, so this is in reference to the conveyor. Let's go into conveyor 2. Henrik says that I talked about it last live stream. The wire bodge was fixed, I think. Yeah, I know I talked about it, but I talked about it in the sense that I knew it had to be fixed, but I didn't know if it had been fixed. So I think I need to do some checks on the old version of, and the thing is that I didn't bump the version number, which was stupid of me. So if I come into Conveyor 1.0, this is the PCB, in theory, that is in front of me on the bench. But what I may have done is edited this file to apply the fix and then not incremented the version number, which would be just like me. And because since then the project has been taken from Eagle with local storage and pulled into Fusion 360, I don't easily have access to the history, so I can't tell if the change has been done. So what I need to do is take a look at that bodge wire, figure out what it's doing, because I can't even remember what the bodge wire is doing, and see if that change has been applied in the design here. Now back to this one. What you can see here is there are now three of the PCB sensor sockets. The Y stepper motor, so the two stepper motor footprints are gone from here. The Y stepper motor is now a 6-pin JST-XH connector, and that is to provide the 4 inputs plus ground and 5 volts going to that stepper motor driver board. I've then got 2 JST-XH connectors for the motors to move the conveyor, because what I'm going to do is just use little N20 gear motors. I'm going to use 6 volt N20 motors and feed them with 5 volts. Or am I going to use 12? I think it's 5. I'm going to have a look at the schematic. I can't remember what decision I ended up making. What are we feeding them from? X-axis stepper drive, Y-axis stepper. Oh, that's the old one. Okay, I'm going to confuse myself if I have that project open. I need to come back in here, and where are the sheets? I need to move that to do. Let's stick that back inside. And so we've got, where are we? Sheets. Where is the motor driver? Oh, okay, here we go. X-axis motor driver. So what I've done is I've put a DIV8871 DC motor driver in there instead, just being fed off the 5 volt supply, and it's just got the 2 inputs, because effectively this motor driver is like an H-bridge. And so we've got the H-bridge outputs, and I've swapped the polarity on the 2 connectors. So if we look at, now where's the best way to look at this? So these 2 connectors, the front motor connector and the rear motor connector. And if you look at the geometry of the way the conveyor is set up, there is one motor pointing in one direction, and then one motor pointing back in the opposite direction, which means to make the 2 sides of the conveyor belt move in the same direction, the motors need their polarities swapped, so that one will go forwards when the other goes backwards, and vice versa. So these 2 connectors, for simplicity of wiring, I'm going to make it so that positive and negative to the motors are the same in both cases, but in the circuit they are flipped. So pin 1 on one is out one, and that is pin 2 on the other, and vice versa. So the two motor connectors have reversed polarities relative to each other, but they are both being driven off this same H-bridge motor driver from a 5-volt supply. And YAxis taper interface, that's the one I just talked about. I/O expander. The fix was around the I/O expander. In fact, I think it might have been the reset. I have a feeling that that bodge wire was the reset line being connected to the ESP enable pin here, coming in on the header from the
Peter Lawler said, reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
exactly. Reversing the polarity of the neutron flow makes the shaft spin contradictorily. Now, okay, chat. So, Trady asked, don't cars have CAN sensors to measure light to turn the lights on? That was in response to Scott. So, okay, so Scott's comment, I hadn't seen this, was, I'd still say a series of ambient light sensors all the way across would be more useful. Yeah, that would be interesting, putting sensors all the way along the rail, because then we could have absolute position sensing, and it wouldn't matter in terms of doing a cold boot of the conveyor. You'd always know what boards are, or what's sitting on it. You don't need to, because there could be boards that are sitting in between sensors, for example. And that is true, but it's more work. Putting a whole row of sensors along the edge of the rail would be quite tricky. So I can't be bothered, basically.
Imogen said, wibbly wobbly, timey wimmy.
Yeah, definitely timey-wimey is wibbly wobbly. So in response to that, Trady said to Scott, don't cars have CAN sensors to measure light to turn the lights on? What they have are sensors that probably communicate via CAN bus, but they don't necessarily need to. And the CAN bus doesn't intrinsically have anything to do with the operation of the light sensor. It's just a way the sensor could be connected back to the car's ECU so that it can get that data. And Chip said, but they're just a single sensor that looks at light level. Yep. Yes. And Scott said, most cars have multitudes of CAN-based items specifically to break your mind when something fails. Here's a new commenter. I don't think I've seen Type XXI, so is that Type 21 Wolf? You have 325 videos to choose from, so it must be hard to find the one video. I have so many videos, most of which are just live streams now. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Or project. Okay. Now that is a better question, because all right. So explaining this, you are seeing little snippets of my thought processes here. The original question was, what video am I most proud of? To which I don't really have an answer, because I'm not especially proud of any of the videos, really. The videos do not feel like an accomplishment. A video is just a thing to show other things. And so JaxTech amended that question and said, or project. Now that is more interesting. So projects that I'm proud of, there are many projects I've done that gave me a huge sense of satisfaction, either in the process or on completion to see the outcome of it. And probably the one that I am most... Okay, I'm going to rephrase the question so that I can answer it the way I want to answer it. Not so much the one that I'm most proud of, but the one that made me the happiest to see the outcome of, I think, was... Oh, it's a close call. Still, after all these years, ArduSat has got to be right up there because of the impact that had on, because of the educational aspect of it, and the whole impact of giving high school kids the opportunity to design their own experiments and have them run on a satellite in orbit. That was really, really mind-blowing. But the other one, the one that I think in more recent years has given me the most satisfaction, was probably the chair breakout mini, the wheelchair control breakout. That was the project that I started with Nick Fryer and then finished with Chris, which intercepted the signals from wheelchair controls before they got to the wheelchair itself. So between the joystick and the main motion controller of the wheelchair, and allowed those controls to be redirected to other destinations. Or we could inject new controls as well. So we could drive the chair by remote control. We could move it or from a different source, like messages over CAN bus, or we could take the messages from the control and send it somewhere else. And the reason I classify that as probably the one that I am happiest to have pulled off and succeeded in is the impact that I saw it have for Chris in particular. We got it working with Nick, and it was kind of after... So it was after Nick passed away, and I continued on projects with Chris that we used it for a couple of other things. The sorts of things that Nick had been envisaging it for, and then it was Chris who brought that to fruition. So in terms of projects that if I look back and think, I am so glad I did that, I think the wheelchair control breakout system was the... was the thing. Okay, so Stephen W, this is throwing back to my comments about videos and how this whole channel was started off a little throwaway video. So Stephen's comment was, that's a complaint a lot of people make. They put all of this effort into videos only to have a super low effort throwaway thing get twice as many views. Yeah, that's right. You can't always engineer success. And Trady says, I was going to say the RX-8 was a memorable video. Yeah, that was fun. That was a really interesting educational project as well. I was talking to someone just on chat actually just this morning about all of the different things that I like, different techniques and things that I use for different projects, and how in retrospect, if I look at all the different things I do, like 3D design and electronics and firmware and 3D printing and CNC machining and whatever other things that I end up doing, there are all these different skills and techniques which, if you look back over all the years of me working on these different things, it seems, at first glance, it might seem impressive to have done all of these different things. But I don't really look at it that way. And the experience of getting to this point, like if I look at this now, for example, just happens to be the project that's on the screen right now. If I look at this and then think back to me however many years ago, now I look at this and this is not a particularly complex thing or a difficult thing to do. Most of this board is a bunch of connectors and, you know, a switch and some other basic things. There's nothing all that difficult about this. But some years ago, if I looked ahead at this would have seemed like a really difficult, impressive project. But the way that I've got to this point of being able to do this sort of thing without, you know, any particular, I mean, it's not, what am I trying to say? I can do something like this and it's just like an everyday thing because it's the kind of thing that I work on. It doesn't feel at all impressive. It's just like a normal thing. But the way to get to that point, each of the little steps is not impressive either. It's just learning one little thing at a time and picking up building blocks. It's like, what's an analogy? Okay, an analogy would be like having a lot of Lego. And if you buy some Lego to start with, you have no Lego at all, and you buy one Lego kit and you build it. You follow the instructions and you build the thing. In fact, I got some Lego just here somewhere. And you build the thing. You have exactly the right pieces that you need to make the one thing. You've done it by following the instructions, so it's not your own original design. And if you want to make something else, you're very limited. You only have the building blocks that you got in that initial kit. And then you might buy another kit of Lego, which means you got a bunch of extra stuff. And then you follow the instructions for that and you learn a couple of different techniques that might be used in that model. And then you pull them all apart and now you've got more pieces and more techniques, and you can start building something out of that has come out of your own imagination and start making your own creations. But you're still very limited because you only have this small collection of resources to work with. The small number of Lego bricks, the small number of techniques and skills that you picked up from those first couple of things. And then each of those increments doesn't seem particularly impressive. But then if you keep doing this, you keep buying more Lego, you keep building more stuff. After a while, some time passes, and before you know it, you end up with big tubs full of Lego. You've got thousands and thousands of pieces. You built many different things, picked up many skills along the way. Your ability to conceptualize and execute has incrementally improved. And then before you know it, you're a Lego master and you're building big crazy things because your imagination has expanded in scope and your skills of execution have incrementally reached the point where you can build whatever is in your mind. And you have the building blocks, you have the resources to work with, the raw materials, which then gives you the capability of creating complex, impressive things. And if you just look at that end point, it seems complex and impressive, but getting there has just been a series of little steps. Each individual step in itself, nothing special. It's just whatever is the particular skill or increment that you need for the next thing that you want to do. You just keep building on it, keep building on it. So that is kind of the way that I think about this. It's a case of what one thing in this, or what extra thing do I need that I haven't worked with before, that is new to me, that once I've done it once and validated that thing or that process, can then become part of my toolkit for future projects. And then over time, you just end up with this really big toolkit of lots and lots of very simple individual things. Like just looking at this board, for example, during the week, yeah, this is actually a really good example. So during the week when I was doing this design revision and I was switching over from the stepper controller modules to putting the, where is it? This YAxis motor driver. This is a simple little H-bridge motor driver. We've got a current limit setting on it, a config, so 15k pull down on the ilim input. We've got two inputs here. We've got the H-bridge output. We've got the motor voltage source here, thermal ground and logical ground connections. It's very simple. There's not all that much to it. And I put this down in a matter of minutes. Like it was very easy because I've used this part before, the DRV887X series H-bridge motor controllers. I've used in many different projects. That is a building block that got added to my my repertoire some years ago. And so if I need a small DC motor driver, I just throw one of these into the design and I know it's going to work with a very high degree of confidence because I've used it before. And so I throw it on the board and there we've got our little H-bridge DC motor driver with a couple of motor connections on it. If I'd never done that particular thing before, I would have gone through a process of how can I control these motors? What do I need for it? And learn about H-bridge motor drivers and how do I interface that with the microcontroller? What do I need for it? What are the thermal requirements? What are the power requirements? All of that sort of thing. And that would be a new thing. But in this particular case, it was one little building block that I have used in the past. I know how to use it, so I just chuck it on there. And I think that is getting to that point of all of these building blocks. If you look at this board, it's full of these building blocks. Like these opto isolators up here that I've used on many other projects. This is the CAN transceiver that I've used on many projects. This is an I/O expander that's been used on many projects. It's just taking Lego building blocks and mashing them around and sticking them into a new configuration. So it hasn't been all that often that I've worked on projects where it's been a major stretch and I've had to learn a whole lot of new things, which inherently includes a whole lot of risk because it's a lot of unknown. Mostly it's been some small increments on a base, a series of base designs or modules or something like that. Okay, what are we doing? I don't know how I was talking about that. Why? Right, where are we? So, hang on. Dimensions in space, what? Okay. Dentistries. A comment from Dentistries. A random one. I was clearing out a load of stuff today and found an invoice from Superhouse from 2018 for an Ether 10, Ether Mega PoE injector and Mega Proto Shield. Was it those things, or oh, hang on, was it from Superhouse or was it from Freetronics? I don't know. Okay, hang on. Where are we? Doctor Who, I love. Where? I am trying to figure out where I am in the chat. Oh, John says, I'd like a teleportation machine so that I could come to a barbecue, please. Yeah. I'd like to get more people along to the barbecues. It's a pity that so many people are stuck outside of Melbourne. John Whips made the A TARDIS, yes. You could pick any barbecue. You could come to any barbecue anywhere in the world and at any time. Magnet is interesting on that sensor. That's why I said to look at it. Oh, okay. I think that must be a reference to a Discord comment. I am trying to catch up on chat here still. Johan. Johan is going. So Johan said, need to sleep. See you, John, and Happy New Year to all. Yeah, Happy New Year, Johan. Car opening. Oh, okay. Type 21 Wolf said, the video with the car opening is one to be proud of considering the period it had been released 14 long years ago. Just watched it and made me smile. Yeah, 14 years ago. Yeah. Scott pointed out. Yes. Okay, so Scott Miller said, how about the Rack 32? Started a whole ecosystem. It did. That is kind of strange. Once again, that's one of those things that, yeah, some very smart people latched onto it for some reason, and then used it as the basis for a whole lot of other projects, other things that they've designed that have surpassed my original design. Taken it to a whole new level and added things that I never even thought of. So that is pretty cool. So Shubham said, check out Donut Media if you want to get into cars. What do you mean if I want to get into cars? You obviously don't know a lot of what I do. Dentistry's asked, are you going to do any other videos? No, yes. So, I am definitely going to do other videos. Now, I actually recorded almost entirely and edited almost entirely the part 3 of the series. So I was doing a series on this is so long that I can't even remember. This was on replacing the firmware on IoT devices and replacing the processor in it so you could tasmatize them. And I had another video almost ready to go. And then some things happened, like major personal life events. I try not to talk about this sort of thing too much, but hey, I do go very personal sometimes on these streams. So my ex and I separating happened last year, and so my life circumstances changed dramatically. Even before that, I'd been having trouble with video production, and I'd actually filmed, or mostly filmed, several videos and not released them, and one of them was the next in that video series. So I want to get back to that. I really do want to finish that and do a couple of extras, a couple of follow-up videos. So maybe my New Year's resolution should be to start doing actual edited videos again, not just these live streams. Okay, here we go. Here is a commitment. New Year's are a time when we can lay challenges for ourselves so we can retrospectively take stock, see what we have achieved or failed to achieve, and try to set some goals for ourselves, which is not something that is limited to New Year, but New Year is a time that brings all of this into focus and causes us to be a little bit introspective, I think. So, Here is the goal. This is going to be a big, audacious goal, okay? Okay, my big, audacious goal for 2024 is to do 1 video per month. Now that I've said that, do I think I can pull this off? I think it's going to take commitment. I think I can do it. Like, in the past, I've gone through periods where I've done videos fairly frequently. But if I can do one edited, like a real edited video per month, doesn't necessarily have to be very long. It could be 10 minutes long. The thing is that to do a 10-minute video can take me 1 to 2 days generally, in terms of doing the actual work that I'm filming and filming it and then editing it, all of that sort of thing. 10 to 20 minutes of video, sometimes my videos are half an hour. It can take a couple of days to produce that. And that is a very big time commitment when, over this period, the last year and a half in particular, I have been running as fast as I possibly can to try to reorient my life and just to get through day to day. But I think things are now in a more established sort of mode. I'm in a situation where I can start to do things again. I can start to live a little bit, and I can undertake projects that I want to undertake. There is a lot of pressure from clients to get work done. That's the other thing, is that my contracting work has gone crazy in the last 12 months.
Said, Jono, aim for 70%. It's a good method to not go perfectionist on it.
Yeah, not go perfectionist. Okay, I'm not going to kill myself if I don't... That was a bad thing to say. It was misphrased. What I was trying to say, I am not going to be too hard on myself if I miss a month, or I go past the end of a month and I haven't released one yet, or something like that. But I'm going to undertake, so my goal, I'm stating it here, my goal for 2024...
Imogen Ann said you're not going to burn yourself out.
No, I'm not going to burn myself out. Actually, okay, I'm thinking about this from a cadence point of view. The barbecues, the monthly barbecues, feel like they come around really frequently. Like, each time one comes up, I think, has it really been a month since the last one? It doesn't seem like a month. So having a monthly cadence, it's long enough to get stuff done, and it's short enough that it feels like there is a regular beat to it, and there is progress. It is something that keeps coming around, keeps coming around, got to keep on it, and can't slack off. So I think maybe a monthly cadence.
System notification. 1 hour remaining.
Thank you, system. Is a good goal to go for. All right, where are we? So, okay, so this is, I'm going to actually narrow it down. Rather than having this single sort of non-specific big audacious goal for 2024 of a month, of 1 video per month, I'm going to be more specific. The first video that I'm going to do, that I'm going to release in January, is the next video in the 2-year series. And then there are, I think, 2 more videos after that in the 2-year series that I want to do as well. So I am going to do the 2-year video about reflashing devices with a direct serial connection to bypass the over-the-air update protections that have been built in. And then I'm going to do the 2-year video about replacing the processor module, because most 2-year devices these days use things like the beacon chip rather than an Espressif chip. So there are tricks you can use to replace the processor module and tasmatize or put ESP home or whatever it is that you want to run on your two-year based IoT devices. Okay, so that's my specific undertaking. The next video in the 2-year series in January, to be released in January. Right. So, Shubham, you're making a lot of comments about crypto. I'm not really interested in crypto, so yeah, you're welcome to chat about other stuff, but yeah, just don't. If you keep talking about crypto, you're probably going to end up with one of the moderators banning you. So, just a warning to be careful about that.
Keith H says, Jono challenge. Preview the video at the barbecue.
Ooh, that. Yeah. Okay. That is a terrifying idea. Not so much in terms of the timing. So Keith's challenge effectively means that I would have to have that video done in about the next week and a half. So looking at the dates, the second Sunday in January is Sunday the 14th. So it is 2 weeks. So I would have 2 weeks to do the video. And that's not the scary bit, believe it or not. I think I could do, because I've actually mostly filmed it, and I'd want to refilm it because, but I've already filmed it once, which means that I've got like the structure there, I've got the prototype. I can just watch my previous version of the video and then just film it all again. And producing the video in the next 2 weeks is not the scary thing. It is really scary. Okay, so this is a callback to the earlier comment about the feeling of being judged when I upload a video. And the feeling, it is actually kind of a scary feeling. If I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm interacting with you, just me as a person. Whereas if I create a video and then I upload it, it's like I'm being judged. It's like my work is being judged. And so when I actually have this kind of fear reaction. So what happens is that I create a video and I think, yeah, this is good enough. It's as good as I'm going to make it. Upload it, and then I don't read the comments. I don't want to know. It's like I send it off, I upload it to YouTube, and then close my eyes and just hope that I don't get too much nasty feedback. And the thing is that there usually isn't nasty feedback. It's actually okay. This is a fear that I have of producing and then having my production out there for other people to see. And that is scary enough, because what I can do in that case is do the upload, walk away, ignore YouTube. I do not want to know. But previewing it at a barbecue.
Amanda Thompson said comments on the video is goo. It helped you improve the video next time.
Yes, that's true. So I could treat it not as a look at this finished product, but more as a look at this work in progress and any final feedback or comments, and then I can edit or refilm things before doing the final upload. Using videos as a preview. That's an intriguing idea. Okay, Keith, thank you for the challenge. I'm going to see if I can pull this off. I'm going to have to set up a TV or something. I'll set up a big
Peter
TV.
Lawler said, take the footage, write the words, get someone else to edit and produce so you have less blame, lol.
Yeah, spread the blame. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting idea. All right, so 2024 is the year that
Imogen
I'm...
Ann said Jono 70% good. Also, the barbecue folks are here to support you as well as all of the chat here.
Yes, I know you are, and I know. You're you're here because you're... Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Emmy. I know, people come to the barbecues because they like to hang around and chat, and people are very supportive, and I appreciate that. This is a cool community, and I'm really glad that I'm part of this, so yes. It does feel kind of cringy though to be somewhere with a whole lot of people and saying, let's everybody watch my latest video on the screen now. I would rather hide somewhere while people see it. But anyway, okay. All right. Do I play table tennis? I have in the past. Yeah, Jack's Tech says, I think Keith meant if you are committing to one a month, premiere it at the barbecue. Ah, could be.
Peter Lawler said, NGL, I'm here cause nothing better to do on a Sunday morning, zany face.
Nothing better to do on a Sunday morning. Well, okay, the positive way of looking at that is there's nothing better to do on a Sunday morning because this is the best thing to do on a Sunday morning.
Imogen Ann said maybe we all bring show and tells like in primary school, lol.
Yes, show and tells. That's something that has happened a couple of times at barbecues, but it's something that I really should call out. What I need to do is say that prior to the barbecues, just to remind people, because in the past, I know Stephen has brought some stuff to barbecues, and who else? I think Keith has brought some things.
Peter Lawler said, seriously though, have barbecue attendees bring their own recently found videos to show each other.
Yeah, that is also a good idea. If I have a TV out in the barbecue area, so what I need is to set up a big TV out there with some speakers, and I've been wanting to do that anyway because it'd be good for playing music and that sort of thing. So I need to get that set up, and then we can just pull up whatever videos people think are worth doing. We could have like a playlist of videos. Yes. So, Dodgy said, please keep them home automation. Cool. Yeah, that is interesting feedback. So that is my plan. For the videos that I do on this channel, my plan is to keep it home automation related, not deviate too much.
Said build as TV on a rolling cart.
Yeah, I think just I think I'll just stick one on the wall. I do have a spare TV, which, no, that one was going to go upstairs for the security cameras. No, I'll find a TV. I want to stick one on the wall because it would be good to have one out there anyway. Yeah, so getting back to Dodgy's comment, please keep them home automation. This is something that I have felt. I don't think I've ever actually specifically talked about this, but something that has been in my head is that...
Dentistry said, please scroll up to my last message you missed. You'll like it.
Okay, dentistries. I'll get back to that in a second. Something that I have kind of been concerned about is working on projects like this. The one that is on the screen right now, this Conveyor Project. Because a lot of my focus recently has been, when I say recently, I mean the last couple of years, has been around electronics production rather than the home automation projects. So this particular thing, this has got the Superhouse logo on here, but this is not a home automation project. This is a controller for a conveyor belt that goes on a production line for making circuit boards, which is kind of home automation adjacent. It's automation, but it's industrial automation. And And a lot of the things that I talk about on these live streams are more focused on this electronics contracting / manufacturing side of things. And I am very aware that that is not what this channel was intended to be about. The whole point of this channel was home automation projects and overlapping into, basically because I want to, because I think it's relevant, assistive technology projects. And just looking at this now, right, middle, left. Look at the orientation of them. And that is correct because we're looking at the back of the PCB. Anyway, so this is on the right, this is the middle, this is on the left. But for the edited, I feel a little bit more leeway with these live streams because they are much more stream of consciousness and following whatever is interesting to me at the time rather than being tightly on theme for the channel. And hopefully that's okay with all of you as well. And that me talking through these projects, like going through the design of this conveyor system and how the circuit works, all of the things that are done in here, things like this I/O expander. This is the same one used in the light switch control systems. So that is kind of home automation adjacent. The techniques and the things that are covered in all of this could be useful for home automation type projects. But for the edited videos, I think they need to be much more explicitly home automation related. Okay, so back to comments. Dentistries, where is dentistries? I may not even be I don't know if I'm past it or not. I will, excuse me, I will find your comment. Oh, Amanda said, comments on the video is good. It helps you improve the video next time. Yeah, I know. It's just my own imposter syndrome and insecurities that mean that I just don't like reading. I don't like being judged or feeling like there is the potential for being judged. Maybe that's a paranoia. I don't know. Shubham asked, can you live stream the barbecue? Yeah, I've talked about this a couple of times. I'd have to make sure that people are okay with it or have an area where there is a camera and like a screen with all the chat on it. I actually kind of like this idea. It's a little bit like a photo booth sort of thing, but not really
Peter
a
Lawler
booth.
said us moderators would no doubt be happy to curate the comments back to you, so you don't have to read them.
Aha, cool. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I haven't found dentistry's previous thing yet.
45 minutes remaining.
Right. Yeah. Rebrand the channel. Okay, so Scott said maybe time to rebrand the channel Superlab TV. Then you could brand individual videos as Superhouse, Superlab, Super Assist, etc. Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I've been thinking of doing is actually my contract engineering work for my clients at the moment is done under the Superhouse company. And in many cases, the branding is not really appropriate. It's kind of like I'm using that because that's the legal entity that exists. But I really should be doing that contract engineering work as Superlab. I think that would be a much better identity to use. Okay, so Dentistry said that he will repost. Jackstech said, very quick way to have your channel banned if you have an unattended stream camera. Right. Yeah, so Rob V says, what happens at the barbecue stays at the barbecue. Yeah, so that is my major concern. Through my experience with conferences and LinuxConf in particular, one of the things that the organizers of LinuxConf have been very cautious about over the years is allowing people to maintain their privacy. And often in the conferences there will be specific statements made about this part of the auditorium is not going to be filmed because presentations are recorded and then posted on YouTube and other places. And
Peter Lawler said rename the company to Superlab, then use trading as names for contract business work.
Yeah, I could just have, well, even without renaming the company, I can just have a trading name of Superlab Research. So there are all sorts of issues around right to privacy, and it's not even a matter of someone's rights to privacy. The way I see it, it's more a matter of respect and someone's desire for privacy. I want the barbecues and the events that I have here to be comfortable places where people can feel confident that they can come and just relax and not feel like they look like or what they are talking about is going to end up on YouTube. So I definitely do not want a camera that is just like pointing out at the barbecue area and live streaming. I think to some extent that is why we haven't seen very many photos come up out of barbecues. In the past there have been a few photos posted on Discord because people who come along might take a snap and upload it to Discord or whatever. But it's been very limited, which kind of surprised me initially, but I think it's more... So my expectation when I did the very first barbecue was that people would be taking photos and things and they would end up being posted. And for people who couldn't make it along, it would be very much like an event that they could see vicariously. They could, they could see what happened. And there has been remarkably little coverage of the barbecues. If you haven't been to a barbecue, and you've only been watching these live streams and things, and even if you've been participating in Discord, you probably don't know what they look like. You don't know anything about how the space is set up or how many people turn up or anything like that, or who turns up. They are very much an offline phenomenon with with very little online. Yes. Okay, so this was Dentistry's comment. Okay, thank you, thank you for this. The comment was, another way of looking at it, maybe your greatest project is the fact that people have been able to use your videos as a learning resource and been able to start on their own journeys. I'm only at the start of my career, but I learnt so much from your videos that I'm at least 5 or 10 years ahead than I would have been. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that comment. And yes, that is one of the most satisfying things. Last night, last night I went over to my friend Andy's house, and so Andy has I'm not going to reveal too much because of privacy and that sort of thing. Once again, it's not my place to reveal this sort of thing. But anyway, barbecue last night at Andy's place, and there were a few people there. A few I'd met before, and some who have been in the chat on this channel, and you would know, and some who I had never met, including a young guy who is currently doing his PhD. And so it was people that Andy knows through the hackerspace and through hackathons and his work with machine learning and those sorts of things. So they were all super techie sort of people, like people that work with machine learning and stuff that is way beyond my pay grade. So I kind of hang around and listen, and I'm amazed by all the smart people and what they can do. And this young guy who is currently doing his PhD, I'd never met him before, and he was sitting just over the table from me, and he said that Andy had told
Peter
him...
Lawler said yes, as Dennis Tried alludes to. You are a giant on whose shoulders others stand now and into the future.
Well, that's a very nice thing to say. But what he... Yeah, so what this guy was talking about, so he's doing his PhD and working on really cool stuff. And Andy told him that I had started Freetronics. And he then said to me that in one of his projects at uni, he had used a Freetronics motor driver shield to make a little prototype project of an assistive technology chair that changes its position to help people get out of it. And so he thanked me for making the motor driver shield and that he'd used it in his uni class. And that sort of thing is really cool to hear. Meeting a semi-random person, like a friend of a friend, someone I'd never met before, and several years ago, long before I ever knew him, he used something that I had designed in one of his projects, and it had helped him towards his PhD. And that is a pretty amazing thing. So every now and then, so this was just last night this happened. So every now and then something like that happens. I come across someone that has that is doing things that I think are amazing, and at some point in the past our paths have crossed, or they've used something that I've worked on, and that's a really good feeling. Right. I didn't say really where. Where there was a comment where, so Chip said, tell Amanda Thompson. Where was Amanda's comment? Oh, okay, so Amanda's comment, this is in relation to having video at the barbecue. Could I video parts of the barbecue that people agree to be in the shot and edit and upload later? Potentially. I think what I would do though is, rather than video and then edit people out, I would rather not capture them in the first place if they don't want to be included. So I think what I would do is have a camera set up somewhere, and in a way that people can walk up to it, they could have a conversation in front of it if they want to, talk to the camera, and record some things that way, so that it's an opt-in process instead of an opt-out process. Yeah. Chip says, too much extra work. Jax Tech said, give people no film badges. Yes. Oh, interesting. So Jax Tech said, unfortunately the text-to-speech didn't do it, but it said, Swinburne commonly used Freetronics boards in final year projects, one of which recurring projects is assistive wheelchair research. That's interesting. I had no idea about that. I'd really like to find out more about what Swinburne's student projects are that do wheelchair research. That's really, really cool. Oh, Henrik said, do you remember the stacklight idea I had? Yes, I do. So stacklights, yeah, stacklights are a recurring thing. So Austin also has done a lot of stacklight stuff. Right. Amy says, I'll bring some googly eyes to stick on the camera. Why isn't... Emmy should be able to say stuff. I don't know why it's not actually saying. Very strange. Imogen and denied. Mod can override. But Imi is a moderator. So I don't understand why. Anyway, very strange. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Imi is a moderator on this channel. So, odd. I don't know. Trady suggested someone should dress up as a squirrel. Amy's question to Steve the squirrel, why would you deny me? Okay, so Henrik says, look up AS5600 module. All right, what is an AS5600 module? My curiosity. Okay, here we go. AS5600 module is a 12-bit rotary position sensor. Oh, it's just an encoder. Right, okay, so we could put an encoder on, yeah, Hall sensor, yeah. Okay. This would just be a way of adding a rotary encoder to the DC motor. Yeah, I've got some Hall effect angle sensors. In fact, I'm gonna have a quick look. Oh, moving hurts. I love striking classes on Saturday so much, but I always hurt afterwards. No, that's a magnetic switch. There's a Hall sensor. I'm just looking through my little sensors thing. Oh, here we go, rotary encoder. So AS5047 is the one that I have here. So let's look for AS5047. Is that the part number? 5047D? Yeah, this is, oh, it's from AMS. Okay, so I've already got that. This one. So what is the difference? Oh, it's a 14-bit. Yep. Oh, yeah, accept the cookies. Give me cookies. I want all the cookies. Yeah, okay, so this is the part number, Henrik, that you suggested. So that's a 12-bit on axis magnetic rotary sensor with analog or PWM output. The ones I have here in the bag are this one, the 5047, 14-bit on-axis magnetic rotary sensor. I think this is I2C interface or something. I can't remember. What is it? Independent SPI, ABI, UVW, PWM. Okay. So this is the sensor, and you can run it in either 14 or 12-bit resolution SPI. Right. And it will do up to 28,000 RPM. Yes. Automotive qualified. Cool. Up to 125 degrees. Yeah, this is a pretty decent one. So this is the half an hour to go.
System notification. 30 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Steve. So this one is one that I bought because I have several projects at the moment that need absolute position encoding on shafts, and this is one of the techniques that I'm wanting to use for it. So yeah, I have these. I have them on the bench right in front of me. How many do I have? Oh, 4. I only ordered 4. They were probably expensive. I wonder how much these are. Let's see. Octo part. And go. Oh, wow. Yeah, they are expensive. DigiKey single $10. Converted to USD from USD. Well, that's useful. A 1-to-1 ratio. So what have we got? That one, 50. Oh, that's an adapter board. Okay, this is the chip, the TSOP 14. What else have we got? I don't know why that's broken out separately. Adapter board. Yeah, okay. So that price was for like a breakout board or something. But here is the bare chip, and what was it? One up price was like $9.80. Oh, 15. Okay, this is Australian dollars. So close enough to $15 Australian in single price. No wonder I only ordered 4 of them. So once you get up to quantities, it drops to about $10 Australian, which
Peter
is like...
Lawler said, "Hey folks, don't forget to feed the algorithm by disliking this video and unsubscribing from the channel."
Exactly. Engagement. Engagement. All engagement is good engagement. All right. I'm going to take a swig of iced coffee because I need it. And now I'm probably wearing it on my moustache. Okay. Have I seen the magnets that come with it was the question. What's going on? I just heard my phone something. Okay. What? The magnets, yes. They use very strange magnets, because if you get a normal magnet, in fact, if we come back to this thing here, there was a little, yeah, look, there's a funky diagram. See this diagram? What you need is a magnet where, if you use a disc-shaped magnet, normally the poles on the magnet would be on opposite faces, like North Pole and South Pole of the magnet. But with these, what you need to do is have, and if you use a regular little magnet like a neodymium magnet or something with one of these sensors, you won't be able to detect rotation around the axis of the disc, because the same pole will always be facing the sensor. It just never changes. So what you need is a magnet where the north and south pole are lateral to the sensor face, and so you get these strange little magnets that are discs. So they look like a regular little disc magnet, except that instead of the poles being on the faces, they are on opposing edges. Yes, so that as it rotates, the north and south pole, you can think of it as being like a bar magnet with north and south pole facing opposite directions. And as the bar magnet rotates, the orientation of the compass reading essentially within the sensor will change, except that it's in a disc format. So it's a bar magnet in the shape of a disc. Yeah. Look at my part cost. Yes, that's right. That's what I was thinking of doing. So this one is like a pretty fancy one. If we look at the 5600, let's see what the price is for those on Octopart. AS 5600. Those are modules, parts, boards, contactless potentiometer. Ooh, is that seriously $1? Wow. Okay, that's nice. Now that's a dev board with it on it. I'm looking for just the chip. That is in a... Oh, that's a horrible package. That's in like a little BGA style thing. This looks better. AS 5600. Oh yeah, these are so much cheaper. Let's just look at this one. DigiKey. Okay. Now this one, I don't think this one offers an SPI interface. This one is only PWM output. So but that's okay. You can. Oh, it's got I2C. Yeah, this one might be better. I kind of like that idea. So this one in single quantities is 5 Kanga bucks, and in quantity 100. Normally when I'm looking at prices of things, like judging prices, I typically look at the 100 up price, because there is a diminishing returns thing. If you plot a chart of price by quantity, it'll fall off fairly sharply. So here we've gone from 1 to 10. It's gone from $5.23 to $4.69 is a significant change. And then to 25 is $4.43. And then to 100 is $3.84. And then you go from 100 to 250 and it goes to $3.64. So the delta in the prices decreases as the quantities go up. So by the time you've hit price break of 100 on most parts, you're sort of in the bottom part of the curve starting to flatten out. And you can save some money by buying in bigger quantities, assuming you need them, of course. There's no point buying more than you need. But this is what I find is the 100 up price is kind of vaguely indicative of what the bill of materials cost is going to be in production. So if you think of a board going into production that uses this part, you're probably going to be paying somewhere in the ballpark of $3.85 Kanga bucks per part. And so I normally use the 100 up pricing for doing price comparisons. So on this one, it's $3.85. On this one, at 100 up, it is $9.46. It looks like this one is higher spec'd and it does a whole lot of extra things. But for most situations, this one may well do the job. So let's, just because I want to play around with it, I am just going to go 4 again, add to cart. I'm just going to add to cart and figure it out later. I'm not actually going to order anything right now. Did that go into my cart? Come on, add to cart. Is it going to work? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm going to leave that tab open because, oh, I think I just added it to cart twice. I did because of the lag in that. Yes. Ah, Henrik said, could I search for it in LCSC as well? Yes, I certainly can. So what do I want? AS5600, LCSC, and give me prices. All right, position sensor. Yeah, this is US bucks. It is marginally cheaper. They've got 0 stock, which kind of doesn't help. This one here is the equivalent part, I believe. The 5600L-ASOP. So it's in the SOIC 8 package. And on DigiKey, this one, oh, ASOM.
OpenLoad says, do magnetic encoders need to boost circuits?
Ah, so do magnetic encoders need demount circuits? Probably not. Maybe, maybe some averaging. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, Scott says no moving parts tends to eliminate the need for debounce. Yeah, so they should give a very even output. So when you're talking about bounce, bounce in the typical sense is the actual physical mechanical bounce of switch contacts. You do not have that problem. However, the concept of filtering on sensor input is still valid. So you might want some kind of a rolling average on the last couple of readings if there is any external magnetic interference. Now on these sorts of applications, typically what you'll have is the sensor and the magnet very close together. Like they might be separated by 1 millimeter or 2. Because what you do is have the back of the motor shaft or whatever shaft it is that you're measuring with the magnet attached to it. That'll be turning. And then you put the sensor right over the back of the shaft just with a very small air gap. So the sensor is very tightly coupled to the magnet, which is generating a pretty strong magnetic field. But think about the application for this. If you have put this on the shaft on the back of a motor, how do motors work? They generate big electromagnetic fields, which then apply force against magnets, which then makes the motor spin. So motors generate magnetic fields around them, and reasonably strong ones, depending on the power of the motor, obviously. So there is the potential for the action of the motor to interfere with the sensor. Now, because of inverse square law, it means that the magnet on the shaft that is really, really close to the sensor, say a millimeter away, is going to have a much stronger influence on it than a similar strength magnetic field that might be 20 or 30 millimeters away. So the inverse square law means that that more distant source of magnetism is going to have a dramatically decreased influence on the sensor, but it could still be there in theory. And so I don't know in practice whether this is a problem or not, and it's probably going to be a situation where it's a case-by-case basis. You need to just try it and find out. But as the motor is spinning, it is possible that it will have some external influence on the reading of the rotary encoder, the magnetic encoder. So there might need to be some small amount of filtering, like something like a buffer with a rolling average. Scott says, I have Hall effect sensors here that show nothing on a scope if the magnet is more than 2 millimeters from the sensor. Ooh. Okay, so they do need very, very tight coupling. That's interesting. Yeah. Cool. Yes. And Scott then said, and it's a very crisp change when the magnet comes and goes. Yep. So those Hall effect sensors that you're talking about. So I use the limit sensors on the water cannon project that I have shown many times are Hall sensors, and I use which one is it? I use Allegro Hall sensors on that. And we've never had any problems with motor interference on it, and we've done a fair bit of tuning to get the wave to get the trip points and everything correct with the magnets that are embedded in the housing of the water cannon. So as the coupling rotates, the magnet moves around, and we've got magnets with two different polarities. So we can, like there's an upper limit and a lower limit, and a left limit and a right limit. And we have the Hall sensors that we use distinguish between they distinguish the polarity of the field that they're exposed to, so that the system can tell if it's hit a left limit or a right limit or whatever. Yeah. Right. Where are we? Okay. Look, the module, I think there were some caps. Yeah, probably just, probably decoupling caps on the power. Although it could be hardware filter. No, if it's I2C, that will just have, it could just have some pull-up resistors on it. 15 minutes.
System notification. 15 minutes remaining.
Wagon Load says, I would like to see a magnetic encoder used for a power supply control. How many counts per rotation? Oh, the resolution can be very, very high. Incredibly high. You can generate like thousands of steps per rotation. So, yeah, you can have very fine detection of rotation. The resolution on these is down to like fractions of a degree. In fact, so which is the cheap one? This is, where's the data sheet? I think the 5600L, yeah, 5600L ASOP is the cheap one. So let's just have a look at what the resolution is on this. Well, it says it's 12-bit, which we could work out what that is, like how many steps, but it should tell us in here. We should have maximum angle programmable from 18 degrees to 360 degrees. Yeah, suitable for contactless potentiometers, contactless knobs, pedals, RC servos, angular position measurement. somewhere in here, we should have some specs on angular resolution. We could do the calculations, but I can't be bothered. I really just can't be bothered doing that right now. Not in my brain anyway. Where are we? Timing, system characteristics. Plus or minus 1 degree. What's this? Deviation from best line fit. No magnet displacement. Yeah. Plus or minus 1 degree. That is yeah, that's not as good as I thought it would be. A lot of these have resolutions that are far better than 1 degree. So 10-bit is yeah, 512, 1024, 2048. It should be so what is 360 divided by 2048? Someone do the calculation for me, please. What does it work out to be, like 0.3 of a degree? Something like that. Anyway, yeah. So Henrik has been pointing out that the modules on AliExpress with this sensor on it, 1/4 of a degree. Thanks, Chip. I said 0.3 of a degree. That was my order of magnitude sense in my head of what it would be. So, okay. It's well under a degree of resolution anyway. Temperature range was very good, right? Physical size of the package. Oh, so Chip asked, physical size of the package, how do they derive that much resolution? How do they derive it? Magic? Witchcraft? I think that there are pixies inside counting the magnetic field lines. And then they write a report, which then gets copied in triplicate, and one of those copies gets sent out the I2C bus somehow. Yeah, the way electromagnetic stuff works, or the way MEMS things in general work, it's just bonkers. I am flabbergasted that this stuff works at all. It is crazy. Like the way Hall sensors work, the way accelerometers work. Yeah, the fact that humans have the ability to manufacture things at like mechanical structures at the scale required to make this work is just, yeah, it's beyond my comprehension. So many smart people working towards the fact that we can buy one of these things for $3. It's nuts. It is really, really nuts. It's like this thing I saw recently where there was some comment that there is no one, I think this is probably overstating it, but there is no one person on Earth
Scott Miller says
who can make a pencil.
tiny little elves in the chip with incredible eyesight.
Yeah, they've got great eyesight. Yeah, that something as simple as a pencil, a normal person cannot make it, because the combination of skills, like we live in a society, and the combination of skills that are required to produce the material that is used for the pencil lead and the timber, and how you machine the timber to make the pencil, and how you create the paint that goes on the outside of the pencil. So there's all the chemistry involved in making the paint. So a device, I don't think I've got one here. Maybe I do. Yeah, okay, here we go. This, if I can even pick it up, this device here is beyond my capability of making. I could not make this from scratch. It's even just the paint on the outside of this, I could not make that from scratch, like from the original chemicals that go into it. And then there is the material that is made to make the lead, and then It has to be crafted in a way that puts it into the shape. It's very fragile and breaks easily, so it has to be formed into the shape. Then it has to be made into the timber handle of the pencil. So something as simple as this, I could not make personally from scratch. It's beyond my capabilities. The only reason this exists is that we live in a society of very smart people who cooperate, and together they can make pencils. So when it comes to something as complicated as this, it just blows my mind. Like when you start looking at what is inside a microelectronic mechanical device. What does MEMS stand for? MEMS, that'll do, MEMS. Micro electromechanical glues. Microelectromechanical systems is what MEMS stands for. Is the technology of microscopic devices incorporating both electronic and moving parts. So they have physical structures in them. MEMS are made up of components between 1 and 100 micrometers in size, i.e. from 0.001 of a millimeter to 0.1 of a millimeter. Yeah, totally bonkers. And yeah, you look at things like this. What does it say? A MEMS micro cantilever resonating inside a scanning electron microscope. Cursor width 17.57 micrometers. So between those two vertical lines is 17 and a bit micrometers. Microns. Whatever. I always say it wrong. Yeah. Scott says, you realize chips are basically smart rocks. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. The fact that we can build things and I can go to DigiKey and order one of these things. It's just like one of those miracles of life. Every now and then, a lot of the time we lose sight of this. Like we forget how crazy it is that we live in a world where one-off price, $5.23, I can buy this little device that has a microscopic structure inside it that measures magnetic fields in this case to 10-bit or 12-bit accuracy, whatever it is, and then communicates over I²C to tell me the orientation of that field. If that was a thing that I wanted to do, I can do it for $5. Bonkers, totally bonkers. Right. That's another good saying. Stephen W. says, we taught sand to think. Yeah. Right. Almost up.
Notification. 5 minutes remaining.
Wagon Load says, I'm wondering if it is possible to make a wireless compass and software link it to my tablet. Yes, it's possible. Do I know how to do it? No. Could I do it? Probably. This is a classic thing of...
Steve the Squirrel says, system notification. 5 minutes remaining.
We just had that. What? Okay. Is it possible? Yes. This is a classic situation of, I have never done that before. Could I figure out how to do it? Maybe. I would probably start with a sensor similar to this, or an electronic compass, or like a 9DOF. Like, if we do a... let's just do a search in here for compass. Something like an IMU, yeah, linear and compass ICs. What you could do is take a take one of these. I'm just going to pick the first one I find. This is totally unscientific. It's just for the sake of the exercise. The very first one on the list. What have we got? It's an XYZ axis, WLP, magnetic sensor. Yeah, this will tell it. It's a magnetoresistive 3-axis with an I2C interface, sensing range plus or minus 3 milliteslas, temperature compensated. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, we could build a compass with this. Essentially, it is a compass. It's a 3-axis compass. We could put this on a PCB. We could add a microcontroller with Bluetooth, and then we could have the microcontroller read the values from this sensor using I2C, and then communicate via Bluetooth to your tablet. Or we could make a device that plugs in on USB. If your tablet can do USB host, we could become a USB device that plugs into the tablet and sends information. So then it becomes a software problem of how do you do the software side on the tablet to allow the Bluetooth connection or the USB connection and take the data from it and do something useful with it. So you need to write an app that runs on the tablet that communicates with the device and accepts the data. So the short answer is yes. I don't know how to do it, but I know how to begin solving the problem. And then each of those little steps, we'll just figure it out as we go. Jack's Tech said your tablet likely already has a compass. Yes, but there was a previous comment about the compass being broken, which I didn't read out earlier. Scott says, mount that on your monitor with an MCU and use it to detect position. Position of what? Simon says we use an MMC 5984MA that are 18-bit resolution. Let's have a look at this. What does DigiKey have to say about this part number? Didn't find it. Did you mean? Okay, I will try that. Let's see what it says. Oh, 3-axis magnetic sensor for $5.65. And it is in a 3x3 16L GA, so that's a tiny package. That is seriously tiny. So it's got I2C and SPI, 18-bit resolution, 1 kilohertz bandwidth, automotive grade. Yeah. It's a miracle that these things exist. Motor, not monitor. Scott, that explains why I was confused. Mount that on your... Yes, I read it as monitor. Brain misfired. Mount that on your motor with an MCU and use it to detect position. Right. Simon said we use them on satellites to detect rotation. Yeah.
System notification.
Right.
Stream is over.
That's right. So Simon works in aerospace and doing satellite stuff. Yes. I wonder what sensor... What did we use? Ooh, I'm trying to remember what was in ArduSat. ArduSat had its own flight computer and sensors for for the actual flight management system. So it used coils for working against the Earth's magnetic field to be able to align itself. Sorry, I'm just in the process of opening Eagle at the moment. Oh, it's going to make me sign in. No, stuff that. I cannot be bothered going through signing in and two-factor authentication just to open it and look at a project when the time is up anyway. Scott says, stream can't be over. Supposed to be in the New Year's Eve edition, and that's 24 hours away yet. Oh, Henrik said, how old were you in that pic? Sorry, I'm just curious. Which pic are you talking about? Where? Henrik?
Steve the Squirrel says I can see a few people who haven't liked this yet. I'm watching you.
David says, we can run this stream all the way into next year. Sadly, I can't. I have a client who is coming over probably sometime in the next half hour to hour. Open your Wikipedia page? Okay, no, that's embarrassing. No, yeah, that video was, not video, that photo was quite some years ago. Let's see. I can't type. Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Let's see what that photo was. I think it was one that was taken at a, oh yeah, that was a long time ago. That was a photo that was taken at LCA. When was it? Yeah, well, it even says it, in 2007. So that photo is very old. Who took that photo? It'll have the public domain. I can't remember who added that photo. Yeah, anyway. Yes, that Wikipedia page is rather out of date. I look so young there. Yes, I know. Funny thing is that I looked so young 6 weeks ago. Like if you look at the thumbnail for this live stream, that photo was taken about 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. Adding this growth adds about 10 years to me, I think. Yeah, Stephen says your children hadn't had a chance to make your hair go away yet. No, that was that's all genetics. I have become a true greybeard. Okay, well, I am going to have to go because I need to be ready for my client to come over soon to pick up some boards. Last night I assembled a couple of boards that are about to be they're about to be personally taken to Germany to be installed in a prototype thing that I can't talk about. I want to talk about this project so badly. It's there are so many interesting things that I've learned doing it, and it's been pushing the limits of stuff that I know about CAN bus and a few other things. So yeah, I really want to talk about this project. One day I am going to be able to talk about it, but today is not that day. And very soon my client is going to be picking up these boards because he's going to be flying to Germany and doing stuff with them. So I am going to go, but I have to remind myself. It'd be very easy for me to finish this stream and then totally forget that I have committed.
System notification. Peter is hangry. 5 minutes ago.
That I have committed that I am going to resume videos in 2024. So my goal is by the first barbecue of 2024 on the 14th of January here at the Super Lab, there will be a preview of the next video in the 2-year series. Now, if things work out, maybe the video will actually be ready before then and I'll upload it and make it live or something. Realistically, maybe not. But I'm going to try to have a preview by that barbecue. So if you're in Melbourne on the 14th of July, not July, January, come along to the barbecue, please. Quite apart from the video preview, it's just cool to see people in person. And yeah, I will see you all next year and I hope you have a fantastic New Year's Eve. Thank you very much for hanging out with me through 2023. It's been a big year for me, and I know it's been a big year for many other people as well. Lots of good, lots of bad, lots of in between. But all through there, it's been you and me, baby. So yes, these Sunday live streams are like a touchstone in my life now. They're a regular heartbeat that, yeah, not doing one would seem very strange. And I'd miss you all. So thank you. I'm going to go now and have a fantastic New Year's Eve. I hope you all have a great time. And I will talk to you all really soon. So in the meantime, go and build something awesome.